grab seats, get comfortable, because they're going to have me a little while, trust me. First of all, we are really excited about the team. We are continuing to build and assemble and just staying in line with the most important three letters in our office, GSD, get stuff done. We're going to continue to do that. And today's announcement of my climate team really personifies how we believe that taxpayers should be getting their money's worth by combining our agencies, becoming more efficient, and de-siloing government. We have multiple agencies doing the same things instead of decreasing the footprint and making sure that we can coordinate better. This is what I've discovered throughout my times in government, and the promise was to become more efficient, and we're going to continue to do that. And today we're announcing our Chief Climate Officer and Department of Environmental Protection Commissioner, Rick. He comes with a lot of experience. Mr. Aggarwala comes with a deep understanding of environment conditions, and it's about bringing environmental protection back into the agencies. It should have never been removed from the agency in the first place, and now we're bringing it back. We're also bringing on a new Chief Operating Officer, Vincent Sapienza, former of DEP. I'm really happy that he's making the determination to stay with the team. It's about the combination of the experienced people who have been here, combining with those who are moving forward the mission that I am laying out, and that's the perfect combination that I'm looking for. And I'm extremely excited that we're also introducing our new Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Client and Environmental Justice, someone that comes from my hood, right in Crown Heights. You know, we have local grown success here in the borough, Kizzy Charles-Guzman. A real effort on our part to bring people together and figure out these challenging times. We saw the storm where we lost several New Yorkers based on the storm. We know the challenges that are facing us as we cycle off of fossil fuel and move in another direction. But there's also a challenge that people ignore. We ignore as we build out our economy and build out new jobs. We are leaving too many New Yorkers behind. My investment in the STEM high school in the Navy Yard was my belief as a borough president that we must start building out the pipeline as we bring new jobs and use the infrastructure dollars that are building out our infrastructure. We must do it and employ young people to fill the jobs that we are preparing. That's number one. Number two, something that's dear to me, it is often ignored, the role that food plays in the destruction of our environment. No one wants to talk about that, the overconsumption of meat and dairy, how that impacts the environment from waste and from what comes from animal products. We are going to dig into this area as well. We are leaving no stone unturned to address the issues that the environmental challenges we have. And I know we're joined also by my councilman, Jim Gennaro. It's good to see you, Jim. Welcome back. You're like Carter. Welcome back, Carter. It's good to see you here, leading the committee and the city council. And this is the partnership that we want to create. So I think it's important for me to take a step back and bring on our three new team members that is going to bring us in the right direction. So I want to start with Rick. Then we will go to Vinny, and we'll round it out with Kizzy. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a great honor and a great privilege to be back here in City Hall and to have your confidence to take on these two important roles as Chief Climate Officer and as DEP Commissioner. The city's challenges from climate are significant. They're real. They've been real for a long time, but I think we all are seeing them more and more each year become significant threats to the lives of New Yorkers. We also know that those threats are disproportionate, that they affect those New Yorkers who are least able to deal with them most. And with this announcement today, I'm very pleased to be part of your team that is going to work to address that. We're going to address climate change in both its aspects, decarbonizing our city's economy at the same time as we improve its resilience to extreme heat, to storms, and to surges. And we are going to work at the mayor's direction to integrate environmental justice into that work fully and not treat it just as a byproduct. I'm very pleased to have a great team, especially to be working for Deputy Mayor Meera Joshi, who's had the foresight to think about her operations portfolio as the heart of our city's climate effort, because so much of what has to be done now is moving to implement the policies and legislation that's been done in the past, and that has to be done through the operating agencies. And that is why I was so excited to take on both of these roles. Similarly excited and very grateful to Vincent Sapienza for staying on at DEP as COO. He'll be an invaluable member of the team. And I'm so excited to work again with Kizzy Charles-Guzman, who's just an amazing leader and will lead the work from the mayor's office. And so with that, Mr. Mayor, thank you again for your confidence. I look forward to working with this team. Vinny?
Thank you, Rit. Mayor, thank you. Deputy Mayor Joshi, thank you. And Kizzy, looking forward to working with you. So, you know, as Rit and the mayor mentioned, we're in different times now. Our world-renowned drinking water, New York City has the champagne of water, and our local waterways that are cleaner now than they've been in more than 100 years are at risk. All of that work, all of the investments that New Yorkers have made, truly because of climate change, can go away. And it's so important now that we focus more on just the nuts and bolts and making sure that we provide reliable customer service, but really what the future needs of New Yorkers are, so that we can continue to provide ample amounts of drinking water and make sure that our city streets don't repeatedly flood. And, you know, you heard from the mayor, these storms that we've been seeing more and more of that, and particularly in underserved communities. So I've worked with Rit and Kizzy over the years. I know what they bring to the table, the leadership and that forward thinking, and I'm just happy that I have the confidence of the team to stay on and continue operating our facilities as we progress forward. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, well, thank you, everyone, and let me go ahead and adjust this a little bit over here. Good afternoon, and thank you to everyone for your confidence, for this appointment. I'm so excited. I just want to say one thing. You know, I've been in city government for almost 15 years, in mayoral teams, at city agencies, setting up their climate and health programs, back in the resiliency office, then the sustainability office, like musical chairs. I can tell you that what is so desperately needed is every civil servant, public servant, every city employee thinking that climate and addressing inequity is their job. Not that silo over there. I want to give out a huge shout out to Adriana Espinosa, our senior advisor on environmental justice, the city's first ever. And for 2 years, she's convened our city agencies and our environmental justice advisory board of advocacy organizations. And it's a team that works over here and tries to be part of all these other conversations. Well, that ends today. Today, for the first time, we're going to bring the policy wonks and the folks that keep the lights on, the folks that keep the water running, the operating agencies that keep us safe. We're going to bring them together so that they can not only keep us safe, they can help us thrive. Our neighborhoods should be thriving, right? Not just staying. And climate is everyone's job because of the times that we're living in, and ensuring that we have healthy populations that can then deal with the climate impacts is everyone's job. When they wake up in the morning, what am I doing today to further this, to make sure that no one is left behind and that someone's health impact is not the reason why they died during that heat wave or during that storm. So I am excited, and I am glad to have all of your support. Thank you. We are looking forward not only to capitalize on all the policy work we've done over 15 years, becoming global environmental leaders. Now we also want to be equity and environmental justice leaders globally. So I'm here to do just that. So watch out. Thank you.
And I want to, before we open to questions, I want to bring up a real leader in the City Council, Jim Gennaro, to say a few words. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Madam Deputy Mayor, Rit, Vinny, Kizzy, Carter, Peggy. We're putting the band back together. We're going to make real change. And I speak for my half of City Hall, or I think I do, or I hope I do. Well, I certainly speak for me and my committee, that we are 100% for the great team that the mayor has put together. I've worked with all of them for many, many years. We made magic in the past, and we're really going to do a great job going forward. Because I know workers, as part of the administration, I can go off script whenever I want. And let me take this opportunity. It's the first time I've seen the mayor since he announced his great blueprint for public safety. And at the end of the day, we certainly want to be as green as we can be, but what good is that going to be if we're not as safe as we can be? So a round of applause for the mayor for everything he's trying to do to keep this city safe. I know I wasn't supposed to go off script, but I just did, you know. And so, you know, to be able to come back to the council and to work with this dream team really is a dream come true for me. And I'm blessed, you know, to be here and to have a mayor that really has the vision to get the great people to put this together. Mr. Mayor, you know a lot. You don't know how good these people are. You don't know yet. You will see. And very happy and proud to be here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having me here, and thank you to all these people who are stepping forward and coming back and going to really change the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kizzy, Rick, Vinny, why don't you come up and get some of these questions before they start going after me off topic? You know. Go ahead.
I was wondering if, Ray, you could talk a little bit about, as Chief Climate Officer, what are your goals for car reduction numbers, and what are your goals to reduce the amount of car and truck vehicle miles traveled in New York City?
Well, the city's current statutory goals are outlined. We have a 50% reduction by 2030. We have an 80% reduction by 2050 in the law. And for city emissions, we've also got a 50% reduction by 2025. Thank you, Kizzy. Kizzy's been here over the last few years, and I haven't. And we are committed to meeting those. The mayor has endorsed a significant amount of funding for work, including the announcement that he made earlier today around solar on the high school, where we're going to be leading by example. As we implement Local Law 97, we're going to make our city-owned buildings as green as they need to be first, and then, of course, in partnership with Commissioner Rodriguez, I know we're going to be working to implement congestion pricing, to implement the pedestrianization and bus lane initiatives that the mayor and the commissioner have been announced, and we will work together with DOT and a number of other agencies to ensure that it all falls together into a comprehensive plan. As you probably know, under the law, a year from this coming April, we're going to have to create the update to the comprehensive sustainability plan, and that's where you're going to see a lot of that come together in a new form. But over the next couple of months, including on this Earth Day, we're statutorily obliged to present an update, and I think we'll take the opportunity to put the Adams administration stamp on the work as we explain the progress that's been done to date, which we are required to do by law.
Mr. Mayor, do you have a signature proposal in terms of climate and for the Chief Climate Officer out of all the legislation regarding decarbonization that already passed, which one do you think is going to be the most challenging to implement?
My signature projects, plural. Number one, employment. When we think environmental, we think jobs. We're not thinking about young, black and brown, immigrant community. I want them employed. As we fix the environment, we need to fix their economy and their economic opportunities. That's crucial for me. And number two that I mentioned that is often not mentioned, no one wants to talk about it. We have to do a better job in the food that we serve, and we have to move away from our fixation on the products that are also destroying our environment. That is often not talked about. We talk about fossil fuel. We talk about that we need electric vehicles. No one is talking about the plate. The plate is not only destroying Mother Nature, it is destroying our mothers and our children as well. So I want both of them dealt with, and I'm sure they have a host of other projects. Let the experts do their jobs, but I'm going to let them know two issues that are crucial for me.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to ask about regarding the food question. Erin from Politico.
I'd be happy to hear more about the food, but I also wanted to ask about your meeting with President Biden, what's on the agenda and what particularly you plan to ask him for.
I believe we're on topic. They didn't get to off topic yet. We're on topic, right?
I didn't know that.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, regarding your food concerns, would you be reviewing public school menus at all to look at that to see if the quality of the food in schools can be improved?
Yes, yes, and yes. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, we were discussing, what was the problem with the molded pizza in schools. The problem wasn't the molded pizza. The problem was the pizza. We're having a conversation about should we have chocolate, high sugar milk in our schools. We feed our healthcare crisis. In one voice, we talk about fighting childhood obesity, diabetes, yet you go into a school building every day and you see the food that feeds our healthcare crisis. Now, I'm not going to become nanny mayor, but we do need to have our children have options. And the children have been calling me and saying they want better food in school. And I'm going to do the best I can to give them the options of a more healthier diet so we can stop feeding the crisis. And we're going to look at the school food, allow the children to taste it, come up with good products, and we're going to put better selections in our food. Product placement goes a long way. Looking at the food that we're serving our children, it is causing the healthcare crisis in our country.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to go.
One of the team.
I'm going to. What?
You're going to. Okay.
So I'm going to go a little bit off topic. I know that yesterday you said that you were looking at the possibility of increasing the number of police. I wonder if you're also interested in increasing the number of school safety officers, which are now down by 2,400 of whom are refusing to get the vaccination. But it's led to things like this. I'd like to show you this picture. This is a picture of, I'm going to tell you it was you can have it, it was 4 knives, brass knuckles, baton, etc. It was in the backpack of a 14-year-old boy at IS-70 in Manhattan on Friday. It's a non-scanning school. Obviously, there is a need to have more safety agents. I'm wondering, my first question is if you think you should increase safety agents as well as the police officers. They are in the NYPD. And my second question has to do with the whole vaccination issue, because 400 of those safety agents haven't been vaccinated and are refusing. And I know there's a letter that went out from the Sergeants Benevolent Association alerting its members that they were going to possibly be fired on the 11th of February if they weren't going to do it. So I have two questions.
Yes, and I'm going to answer both of them, but we're going to do it after we go finish with on topic, okay? And I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer both your questions, but we want to finish on topics. This is the person to look at right there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll go back on topic. And I'll get to the off-topic portion later.
I like your wrist beads, by the way. You could do Saturday Night Live now.
If they'll happen, sure. What was I going to say? When Hurricane Ida, or the remnants of it, swept in over the city last year, one of the deficiency in how the city is able to tackle extreme weather caused by climate change was outdated sewer systems and so on. We didn't hear anything about that in your announcement today. So I'm wondering, can you give us any idea of where your head is at, on how that should be fixed, what plans you envision to update this outdated infrastructure?
Great question, and thank you for that. And of course, we can't lay out everything that we're going to do because we are inundated with the problems with our environment and things we've done wrongly in the past. Retrofitting and building out our sewer systems is not a 4-year plan, and we have to be honest about that. But what we need to do, we need to look at whatever projects we're doing now should not be built for what was in the past. We should be hitting pause right now, doing analysis, and stating why are we building out a sewer system that's for a 100-year storm when that's not our reality. That is a waste of taxpayers' dollars. That is what we're going to look at and look at the projects we're doing and say, how do we retrofit them for the future? And those are, we're talking billions of dollars. We're talking about help on every level of government to get it done. But while we're doing that, because you know my belief, intervention and prevention, there are things we must do right now. And those are some of the projects we're looking at.
On topic. James Ford from Pickle Avenue. Can you talk about, and this is a follow-up really to that question, what do these appointments mean relative to resilience projects like the ones we're seeing in East River Park? Are we seeing more like that going forward?
I believe you asked what type of resiliency projects are we? One of you guys want to get that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the East River Park project, of course, is a gargantuan project that's primarily designed. That's primarily designed to deal with storm surges, and that is one important aspect of the resiliency agenda. We're certainly going to be looking at where there are other places that we need similar work. However, as Ida showed us, storm surges are not the only challenge. That's what got all of the attention after Hurricane Sandy, and it's an important one. But we know that heat waves are the climate impact that kill more New Yorkers than any other climate impact. So we've got to be thinking about how we cool neighborhoods. The neighborhoods that are excessively hot are the ones that are the poorest in the city. Right? And so that is part of why the climate and environmental justice priorities have to be aligned. We have to think about it in that way. And then, as the previous question suggested, we have to figure out how to absorb more rainwater. We saw last fall a record-setting rainfall, followed 2 weeks later by another record-setting rainfall. None of our sewers were designed for this because it's unprecedented weather. This is what climate scientists have been warning us about for 20 and 25 years, and it's taken us too long as a society to react. So we're going to have to start, exactly as the mayor says, make sure that what we're doing right now is not going in the wrong direction, that what we're doing right now is not obsolete the day it opens, and then think about how we can creatively, whether it's through creative financing to do some of the expensive work, whether it's the kind of really creative work that, in fact, Carter Strickland here started when he was DEP commissioner, of building in green areas on our sidewalks and in other places that can augment the storm sewers and absorb water during those harsh rainfalls. So there's a wide variety of things that we're going to have to do. As the mayor points out, the plan is not exactly there. We're going to be developing the Adams administration plan on resilience. It's going to be extraordinary, and it's going to be really good because it's really important, and we know the mayor and his team are focused on it.
After Hurricane Ida, of homeowners in Hollis who approached the de Blasio administration and asked them to consider buying them out because they have been flooded, not just for years, but for decades. And they don't have any confidence that any kind of mitigation effort can save them. They've incurred, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in expense. I'm wondering where you stand on that kind of relocation effort.
Well, we did that during one of the major hurricanes. We went along the coastal areas and encouraged people to sell their homes. This is something we would take in consideration. We won't outwardly dismiss it. We need to take it in consideration on what we want to do. We don't want people losing their lives inside their homes, but that is something we will have to look at, and then I'll make a determination. I don't want to dismiss it outwardly, but it's everything is on the table to protect New Yorkers.
All right, we have to wrap. Can you go back to the questions you said you'd come back to?
Yes,
Marsha?
yes. We're going to do a few off topics before I bounce, but I do want to acknowledge those who are here. Before we do that, number one, a real hero in this movement, Peggy Shepard from WEAC. Carter Strickland, Trust for Public Land. Julie Ty, New York League of Conservation Voters, and Tiffany Ann Taylor, the Regional Plan Association. Marsha, this is such an important question that you're asking. I wouldn't have Pat Lynch write a justice plan. I will have him write a law enforcement plan. The people who wrote the different plans for reform did not have the public safety people in the conversation. Prosperity is public safety and justice. And so when people attack me for having school safety agents in our schools, they need to see this. I'm not removing my school safety agents. We're going to do an analysis of the needs, and I'm going to protect my children. Public protection can't be based on those who say it the loudest. There is an art to saving people, and there's a balance. We don't have to be heavy-handed. We need to make sure that we have the right amount of school safety agents and the right mechanisms in place that our children don't feel like criminals. I'm exploring to change the uniform of our school safety agents. We're looking at new technology that identify weapons. That is not the magnetometers that can be very intimidating. And we are making sure that around the grounds are safe. And we're looking at alternative methods to deal with conflict resolutions. But this is real. These are real weapons that could be used on teachers, staff, administrators, and most importantly, our children. If this is in a backpack of a child, that is the wrong message, and I am not going to relinquish the safety of our children by those that are the loudest in this conversation. Our children must be safe.
The follow-up question is this. Given the fact that you also have a situation where a number of police officers and a number of safety agents are refusing to get vaccinated, does it make sense to fire them because of that, given the fact that you have shortages in both the NYPD and the school safety agents? And how many people are we talking about? And how many people do you think you need in order to make up for that?
Well, you said it best. You used the word in your question, safe. And safety is not only to stop a bullet, a knife, and some other item. Safety is COVID. COVID is taking lives. And when you want to make sure that the school environment, I've said this over and over again, the safest place for our children is in a school. And that school must be based on the rules that we laid out. And the overwhelming number of New Yorkers that are city employees, they heard what the requirements were, and they complied. So the letter went out today letting them know that did not comply, that here's the agreement that your unions fought for to be fair, here's the agreement that we put in place, the former administration, and people must comply with that. The worst thing I can do is to state that here's a rule that we're requiring of New Yorkers, and then change that. Then what about all those other New Yorkers that follow the rule? That's the problem. And you know why that's a problem? Because that's what's happening in the city. We have people walking into stores, taking things off the countertops and walking out, where black and brown people who are doing those jobs are losing their jobs. We're closing down. People are hopping the turnstile, say, we don't have to pay, so what, everyone else is paying. You know, there's a lack of common decency for your neighbors. Living in a city complex like this, there must be rules and we must follow them. The rule is to get vaccinated if you're a city employee. You have to follow that. And if you have a reason you can't, there's an avenue. Put in for a waiver, or put in for that for some reason you can't comply, and we'll look at that. But if you didn't do that and didn't follow the rules, we sent the letter out to you.
If you can talk about the agenda you have going into your meeting with President Biden this week, and what in particular is it you plan to ask of him from the federal government?
Is it next week or this week? I think it's Thursday.
I thought it said this week, yeah.
Oh, okay. Listen, I can't keep up. It's hard for me to believe it's only been a month, you know. And if you haven't recognized it, I am just having the fun of my life outside of the tragedies of people taking the innocent lives of people. This is a great city, and I'm the Biden of Brooklyn. And I love the fact that the president is coming here. I met with him after the campaign, and we spoke, and we just connected, you know. And I'm sure if you were to ask him what is his favorite mayor, he'll clearly tell you it's Eric. You know, we just, you know, we just, you know, just really like each other. And he's coming here because when I met with him, and you'll like this, Marsha, when I met with him, I told him that we stop terrorism by combining our city, state, and federal agencies. And when we felt that it was terror we had to stop, why didn't we do it with the terror that's playing out on our streets every day? Hundreds of people being shot in Chicago. Hundreds are being shot in Atlanta, Detroit, New York. Why aren't we combining our resources to stop the flow of guns? And he reached out to the DOJ, ATF, and he implemented what we have here. We have a joint task force that's together, that they meet every day, FBI, ATF, Department of Justice, everyone is in the same room, NYPD. And so he's coming to see the seed that he planted. It was put in place in August when the previous administration heard me, and he's coming to see that. And we have a few more surprises that we want to do. And, you know, we just got to hang out together, you know, that's my dude. Huh?
Biden of Brooklyn?
Because, you know, we're just like these blue collar guys. You know, he is comfortable around everyday people, and you could just tell that when you're in his presence. He's just, you know, he's ordinary Joe. He knows the people, but the people know him, and so I just patterned my campaign around his whole spirit, that he's an ordinary guy, you know, and he's a guy that can bear the weight of the city, but that you don't mind having a beer with.
Yes, Mayor, I wonder what you think it says to New Yorkers that COVID is considered off topic today, that for nearly 2 years it was the only topic. What is your message to New Yorkers that now other items are above it on the agenda? Should people now conclude we're past this?
Well, yesterday, not when I was young, but when I was at Jacoby Hospital, that was the only topic. That was our headline topic. You know, some of us work weekends, so there was a lot of reporters that were up there with us, and they heard us state an unprecedented reaction on our part based on what the previous administration did. We built on that. We're seeing all the indicators stating that we're moving and trending in the right directions because we reached the 75% vaccination rate. Our numbers are impressive. You did your job, New Yorkers, and I mean, we should be applauding each other for that. Now, what we're not going to do is to stay in this state of, terror all the time. We're doing the right things. We're moving in the right direction. We're getting vaccinated. People are getting boosted. We're doing the right things. And I just really I think we should commend ourselves. This is a long way from where we were. And because we came together as a city with the right mission, with the right message and clarity, our schools are open. They're getting safer and safer every day. This is a real W for us. You can be so used to getting the L's that you just wake up every day and hoping you're getting the L. No, New York. Eric is your mayor. We're getting W's now. We're going to win. And so that's why we're talking about the climate stuff, because we have to still deal with the climate if COVID hit or not. So we are consistent in our message of moving our city forward.
Just give me real quick on the NYPD, just looking for some...
I don't recall being called. Huh? Okay.
Quick on topic, real quick.
Gotta follow, you gotta follow the leader there. Thank you.
With the president. Where are you bringing from?
Somebody outside.
Press on.
Oh, thank you.